Welcome back to the Care and Conversation studio, here live at the Care Show in London. We're here with Dudley. How are you doing?
Not too bad, and thank you very much for having me. It's been a very exciting and hustling and bustling show, lots of people around, so yeah, I'm glad to be sharing some of my thoughts with you.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about mental health today. What do you want to talk about? What are your thoughts on it?
I think mental health has really been an interesting area that's really increased and developed since after COVID, and it really went on from a lot of the staff, how they were being cared for, their thoughts were, the pressure, resilience, and it's been ongoing since that time. I was really happy to be involved with Keeping Well, which is a project that the government sanctioned up and down the country for the health sector, and we were one of the actual portals that was created in the biggest portal working with the NHS, and we specifically developed it for those in social care. We translated it into 50 different languages, we gave short videos, and I was very proud to say that we also created a cooking competition as well.
Nice.
For the staff as well. And so things like depression, anxiety, but the cost of care, the cost of living, all these things affect how we do on an everyday basis. And I always say, if you're not feeling great in yourself, then how can you care for someone else as well?
Yeah.
So mental health is really important as well.
So how did those specific tools kind of really help people? Like, you know, what are some specific things within that program?
So with this program, what we looked at is, rather than trying to overcomplicate things, it's really the basic elements. So actually taking breaks, having weekends off, actually relaxing when you get home, speaking with other individuals, checking up on individuals and seeing how they are. Because if you see a staff member or a colleague and then they come in, they don't look the same or sound the same, it gives you an insight of how someone's feeling. And one of the things we looked at is definitely providers, is what we can do, like having away days for staff, you know, going maybe to a cafe or even gifts or stuff like that. So normalizing. And then the other thing is valuing your staff, appreciating them as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time companies just don't get the basics right, which cause all sorts of mental health issues for people. So, for example, having a good rostering system where people can swap shifts, not ringing people up constantly to ask them to cover when you know you shouldn't. Those things, I think a lot of the time, that just the companies just need to do the basics right.
Yeah.
So otherwise, you can chuck a wellbeing app in there all you like. But if you're mean to people, don't give them the time off they need, then it's not going to work, right?
Yeah, I think when you're looking and speaking with your staff, take time out to have a bit about how they are. Sometimes the problem when you talk about mental health, it has a stigma, and actually trying to just to understand and using it and say, how are you feeling? How busy is life? How can we help? Putting things in place which then allows them to open up, because a lot of the time the barriers have been communication, and they feel if they say they're not well or mentally unwell, they feel they may lose their jobs, their shifts, or the stigma of it can also play a big part.
Yeah.
So
it's really important, isn't it, to understand the context of people's lives, and what they've got going on at home. Often you find out if someone acts in a way you might not expect at work, and then actually when you talk to them, you're like, well, they're going through a big thing, they're moving house, or they're getting divorced, or there might be something big happening in people's lives that they're not necessarily going to share with you right away. But getting to know people and understand them is really important, right?
No, I think it's important. And if those who obviously work a lot within sort of health and social care, know things like the Mental Capacity Act, a lot of the time it may be, people's sort of minds may be fluctuating. So if, for example, you're really stressed right now and then you have a bit of a meltdown, doesn't mean that's how you're going to be like all the time. So actually take someone 5 minutes, once they've calmed, then you can have a conversation when they're in a setting which are much more understanding, like a one-to-one and things like that, as opposed to when in the middle of lots of pressure, staff, families, residents, service users coming at you. It can be really full on at times. So,
what's your? I know obviously it's different for everybody. What's the top tip you've got for kind of how you manage your own mental health?
So for me, I think I sometimes work very hard, and I can get quite engrossed to the point where you turn around and think, oh my God, it's like 7 in the evening and you've been working. So I try and actually just watch something completely nothing to do with the care sector, maybe a program or something on TV, and catch up with a program and keep that consistent, and just having a nice plate of food, you know.
Yeah.
Something really tasty and enjoyable.
Eating properly is so important, isn't it? 'Cause, I do that. I forget I don't have breakfast, and then actually and I realise at like 2:30 that I haven't had lunch, and then I can't be bothered to have something proper. So, and then it just compounds, isn't it, throughout the day?
I always say have something every Friday. Try and force yourself at least once a month to like have a lovely meal and you know, showcase that for yourself. Treat yourself. Why not?
Well, talking about food, I've got one last very important question for you. What's your favourite alternative milk?
Milk,
yeah.
I think potentially I'm going to go with almond. Before it would have been coconut, but I think I'm with almond at the moment.
Yeah.
Unsweetened.
Unsweetened,
Not the sweetened type. So.
I mean, I disagree with you on coconut. You're a monster, but you know.
There you go.
My favourite's oat, but well, thank you very much, Dudley.
No problem.
It's been a pleasure to see you.
No problem.
We will be back with you shortly.